don't we go ahead and get started? My name is Heather Coria. I am a transition specialist with SWATC Schools, and I am also a member of FACT. Tonight, FACT is excited that we have someone with us who is able to speak on what DD waivers are. Tameika Bradley has very graciously offered to come in and join us. She is a Developmental Services Support Coordination Supervisor with our local CSB, the Rappahannock Area Community Services Board. She's based out of Stafford, and she is an expert on DD waivers and all the things that we need to know so that our students and our kiddos can get those supports that they need. So without any further wait, Tameika, I share the floor.
All right, guys, so we'll go ahead and get started. So understanding developmental disability waivers, what are they and what do they do? So what is a DD waiver? Waiver services are designed to support your vision of what you want your life to be. They help fill the gaps with resources and supports in addition to family and community. Common waiver services that a person may get or receive if they were to receive a DD waiver include personal assistance, residential services, day support services, community engagement services, respite, employment supports. Some people will access the $5,000 of environmental modification money, as well as the $5,000 of assistive technology money. The waivers also cover some of the crisis support services as well. The DD waiver is short for Developmental Disability Waivers. There are 3 DD waivers. We have the BI waiver, which is the Building and Independence Waiver. We have the FIS waiver, which is the Family and Individual Supports Waiver. And we have the CL waiver, which is the Community Living Waiver. So when your loved one or your student comes in to be screened for it, or come in to be screened to be placed on the DD waiver waitlist, they go on the waitlist for all 3 of the waivers. The Building and Independence Waiver. This waiver is for adults 18 years and older who are able to live mostly independently. These individuals do not need supports all the time. An individual who receives a Building and Independence Waiver usually own, lease, or control their living arrangements and supports and are complemented by non-waiver funded rent subsidies. Family and Individual Supports Waiver. This waiver is available to both children and adults. People with this waiver may live with their family, friends, or in their own homes. Some people may need functional, behavioral, or medical supports with an FIS waiver. This does not include group home or sponsor residential services. So the FIS waiver does not have the group home and sponsor services under this particular waiver. Some services that you could receive under the FIS waiver include employment, day support, in-home residential services, personal attendant supports, respite, and companion. This is not a full list of all of the services that's covered under the FIS waiver. It's just a few. The Community Living Waiver. This waiver is available to both children and adults as well. People with this waiver usually require supports in their homes at all times. Some people may need to live in a home that has staff to support them with functional skills and or complex medical or behavioral needs. So the Community Living Waiver will cover that sponsored placement service or a group home service if an adult or a child needed that level of care. The CL waiver has the most services of all the 3 DD waivers and includes group home and sponsor, like I just said. They support companion, employment, personal attendant supports, and respite. Again, this is not a full list of all of the services that's covered under the or covered through the Community Living Waiver. Can anyone have a waiver? No, not everyone is eligible to receive a developmental disability waiver. Part of what we do as support coordination at the RECSB is determine who is eligible for a DD waiver. So this can get a little tricky. So to be eligible, the individual must have a diagnosis of developmental or intellectual disability. We must have a psychological or other evaluation that affirms that the individual meets the diagnostic criteria for developmental disability as defined in 37.2-100 of the Code of Virginia. They also must meet the functional eligibility. After we have received the documentation that confirms the developmental or intellectual disability, the RECSB will schedule a screening to determine the functional eligibility. So how do we do that? We will have the family and the individual come in and complete what we call the VIDES assessment. VIDES stands for the Virginia Individual Developmental Disabilities Eligibility Survey. So we call that VIDES for short. And so the individual and family are not charged for this assessment. It has to be done face to face with the individual who's being assessed. And so one thing to note too, we do the VIDES initially to see if they meet criteria for eligibility. But once a person is awarded a DD waiver, we could repeat this same assessment every single year to make sure they still and continue to meet that eligibility requirement to keep that DD waiver. So it's not just a one-time thing. Once they get the DD waiver, we have to do it every year. And usually we do that at their what we call their annual plan meeting. Medicaid financial eligibility. The individual must qualify for Medicaid to receive a waiver. Some of the financial requirements are waived with the waiver. The Department of Social Services determines that after the slot has been assigned. So with that being said, for a person, if they are awarded a DD waiver, they must have Virginia Medicaid, and it has to be the long-term Medicaid to be able to use that DD waiver. Um, if you're awarded or receive a waiver, you must be willing to accept services within 30 days of offer of a DD waiver slot. An individual or substitute decision maker must sign the documentation of choice between institutional care and community-based services. So this form is signed when you come in for a screening. And so when you sign that form at that time, you're signing that you understand that you're going to be placed on a statewide waiver wait list. And so once we have you sign that form, we'll add you to the DD waiver wait list. And then every single year, the state will send this same form out to you. Right now, I've been seeing a lot on email, but I know they also mail them out as well. So if you have a child that's already on the wait list, you should be getting this form once a year, and you have to complete this form and send it back to the state for the child to remain on the DD waiver wait list. Because if you don't, the child may be removed from the wait list. And so if a child is removed or an adult is removed from the waiver wait list, it's not the end of the world. You just have to come back in to see one of us to get them rescreened and put back on the waiver wait list. So, um, some things to take away. Not everyone who requests a DD waiver will be found eligible. Everyone found eligible is added to the wait list. So waivers are assigned based on a committee that decides who receives the waiver. They pick the person who has the greatest need for the DD waiver service. So we at the local community services board, we don't necessarily know who's sitting on that committee. We don't have any buy-in with that. We prepare a form to send over to them for them to review, and that committee makes the decisions on how those waiver slots are assigned. Some people wait for many years before they receive one of the DD waivers. So we do have an extensive wait list. I will say the state is making strides to eliminate that wait list. So things are looking better. So hopefully it won't be years upon years like it used to be. But there is a wait list. I qualify for a DD waiver and I'm on the waiting list. Now what? So everyone on the DD waiver wait list is assessed for a priority level. There's 3 different priorities. We have priority 1, priority 2, and priority 3. Only those who are a priority 1 will have their information shared with the committee who selects those who will be offered a DD waiver slot. There is a list of questions that will be asked at the screening for the DD waiver that will determine a priority level. If something changes in the individual's life that makes them more urgent, you need to contact your local community services board to update the individual's priority level. One thing I say with this one is people's lives are constantly changing, so priorities can go up, they can move to 2 or 3, they can go from a 2 or 3 to a 1. So it's just always good to be in contact with your local community service board to provide them with updates as to what's going on. Sometimes it may be just that we're noting it in the chart, sometimes it may affect the priority, whether it's keeping you 1 or moving you to 1 or moving you to a 2 or 3. Everyone who qualifies as a priority 1 status will have a critical needs summary completed. This provides a quantifiable score that determines urgency of need. The highest scores get presented to the committee who selects waivers. The number of people presented to the committee for selection is at least double the number of waiver slots for distribution. So with that being said, if we're only getting 35 waiver slots, sometimes we're preparing 70 on up of different individuals to go before the committee for them to review and make a decision. So we're always submitting more than what the waiver slots we have or will be receiving. Once you've been offered one of the three DD waivers, you will talk with your support coordinator about the services available to you and decide whether you're going to accept the waiver. So just always know you have choice with that. You will have an opportunity to learn about what the waiver is that you're being awarded and determine whether or not that waiver will meet the needs of your loved one. If you decide to accept the waiver, you and your support coordinator will work together to decide which services can help you achieve your goals and live your good life. You will review each of the waiver services to determine what support services you need. Once you have decided which services are best for you, you and your support coordinator will develop a plan on how to connect you to those services. Your financial eligibility will be determined by the Department of Social Services, so that'll be the Medicaid piece again. If you don't have Medicaid, and you're awarded a DD waiver slot, it usually takes about 45 days from the time you submit your application to Social Services to receive a decision. You will select the services and providers for those services, and a meeting will be held to develop your person-centered plan. The providers and support coordinator will work together to submit service authorizations so that services can be paid for by Medicaid to the provider. After that, your services shall start. And if at any time you're not satisfied with services, you should just let your support coordinator know that, as families and individuals always have choice in the providers and the services they're receiving. Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Tameika. I'm going to be going over a PowerPoint with you all this evening just to talk a little bit about the DD waivers. One thing I will say, I know we have some parents up here and educators as well, just to open up, that if you do have a loved one, a student, a person that you're working with that has a developmental disability or an intellectual disability who has not been screened for a DD waiver yet, please, please, please encourage them to reach out to their local community services board to request that DD waiver screening to get on the waiver wait list. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and start with the PowerPoint, and then at the end, we'll give you all an opportunity to ask any questions if you have any.
And I just want to chime in real quick. Good evening. My name is Jeanette Tolosa, and I'm with the Fredericksburg Area Council on Transition. We will have a virtual presentation on the CCC Plus waiver on April 24th. So in just about 2 weeks. After this presentation, at the very end, I will be sharing some information about FACT, resources we have, and a way to register or sign up for that presentation as well. And also all of our presentations are recorded and then uploaded to our website so that you have time to review, pause, take notes, get the information you need, and then also reach out to the people within your area, your district, to ask questions.
And so our contacts are listed up here. So like for City of Fredericksburg, Samantha Moore, her name and numbers here. For Caroline and King George County, unfortunately, Valerie St. John is no longer with us. So I would again just encourage you to call one of the other boards and let us direct you. And then for Spotsylvania County, Samantha Moore covers last names beginning with A through M. And then Christina Resendez, she covers last names beginning with N through Z. And then for Stafford County, it's Kelly Kokler and I. Kelly covers last name starting with A through M, and I have N through Z. But either way, you can always just reach out to either one of us, and we'll direct you to who you need to contact and or go ahead and get you screened with us. So